I mean, it was a very, and I mean, I'm not sure, I haven't actually looked at that library literature over the last couple of years, but it, I mean, it was very, very
yeah.
big.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah, very, very, very big. So I learned a lot from that, and I am also now a member of the IABC, the International Association of Business Communicators, which is an association for business communicators worldwide, and they come from all different fields, but a lot of them, I mean, it's mainly corporate people. I've never met a librarian there yet. I've been to their annual conferences, but and I have a team of people. There are 8 of us who plan and manage all of the communications and the training for our clients in the World Bank and the IMF. I do things like just put together brochures, which is kind of obvious. That's what a lot of us do. I write the annual report for the Joint Library. I publish...
I'm sorry. Is anybody here?
No.
No,
No.
okay.
I write articles on library services for newsletters that are organization-wide, you know, that are World Bank and IMF, and publish them there. We publish articles on the intranets about library services.
Could I ask, do you also do the flip side, but another very important part of marketing? Do you inform the Joint Library what needs you're identifying that the Joint Library isn't meeting and how they need to change?
Yes, yes, yeah,
that's extremely important, especially with a place like the Joint Library where it is now and it's developed.
I mean, I work in the client services group, so now, I mean, I've moved around, you know, I've done a lot of different, when I began, I was in the IMF, but I reported to somebody in the World Bank. This was 8 years ago. It was complicated, but it actually did work. But yes, part of my job is to report or to inform on where, you know, where we are lacking. I also conduct surveys of targeted groups. We did one just recently on country office staff and resident representatives in the IMF. These are people who work in the regions, and we know that they're underserved, but we really weren't sure of what it is that they needed to do their job. So we conducted a survey, actually a couple of surveys, one of each group, one for the bank and one the IMF, and that informed our outreach plan. And it was obvious that we weren't really meeting their needs. I mean, many of them weren't even aware that there was a library, or they might have known that there was a library, but they had no idea what we could do for them. And actually, that is an ongoing issue. No matter how, I mean, it's no matter how much communications you do, there's always going to be this not knowing that the library is there. It's like we're constantly battling it. But you just keep on.
Do you find that it's complicated because you're dealing with people from various cultures where the idea of the library or reference services are very differently experienced in different people's backgrounds? And
you know, not really, not really, because I would say that most of the people, even though they come from other cultures, they're all, I mean, our staff is generally extremely well educated, and you know, so they're used to using libraries and doing research and that sort of thing. So that's not really an issue. I mean, I would say that the growth of the virtual library probably has made marketing and communications even more important, because the physical space is less used, and you know, there's not as much traffic. That's the reality of it. And most of our services, most of these big databases, for instance, and Factiva, and our catalog and even our reference services, everything's available at their desktop. So they can either go online or send us an email or call or, so I think it's important that the communications function be even stronger so that they know that we're here and they really understand what we can do for them. That's added, value added.
Is there a language issue, multilingual stuff? English is a language of...
The English is the working language. I would say there are cultural issues with communications. That when we've done marketing campaigns for certain, services, you just have to be aware of
what would be
what
an example
languages.
Sorry.
Okay, I don't have a specific example, but say if you were using a colloquial term that's used in everyday language, here in the United States, but people don't understand it, or they're offended by it. Or if you have photographs of people in a brochure or somewhere, you have to be very careful that that it's not all one ethnicity, or you just have to be conscious